The North Star doing the maiden's work gave us weapons to better defend against the Moon King.
Zabeb recited proudly.
They don't defend against the Moon King. They undo all magic like a crazed bull. There is no distinction, no nuance.
Malik frowned.
The creatures were malevolent, but were the followers of the North Star better? The Moon King was evil, but the Moon Maiden was now the ruler of the moon. Magic came from the moon, that fed the springs, that created the beasts, that fed on the energy, that was used as payment for the spells, that used the magic, that came from the moon, that fed the springs.
He shook his head again, realizing he was getting nowhere with this circular line of thinking.
Step away, knights.
Malik finally ordered. The knights ignored him at first, opting to just stare at him with amused faces.
Step away. I can't do this while you're standing close to me.
He let his voice grow louder.
Let the little wizard have his fun.
Zabeb scoffed before walking toward the tree line. The other two knights chuckled, then followed Zabeb's lead, moving a distance away from the stone user and the dying Welthin.
Are the knights liberators, executioners, or uninformed pawns?
Malik moved toward the closest Welthin, still struggling to breathe. He closed his outer eyes and looked at the dying creature. The object the knight's projector had lodged into the beast was tearing it apart at the smallest level visible. The pain being felt by the Welthin became apparent as guilt filled his mind. Although the Welthin could barely move now, it could feel itself ripping apart as the magical forces that held it together were broken. He couldn't let it or the others die such an agonizing death regardless of what they were or had done. Time froze again as his inner self raced back to the moon. Once more he spent an hour and a half reciting the fireball agreement. Then he was back in his outer body holding a flame in his right hand. The creature let out a wail as Malik let the flames consume it, the energies holding it together returning to the drawspring.
What are you doing?
Moswin yelled from the edge of the clearing.
Ending these creatures' suffering quickly.
Malik called back as he moved to the next Welthin.
Do they deserve that mercy?
Moswin didn't sound as if he was approaching.
There is more to it than giving them a quick death.
Malik didn't look at the knight. Malik repeated the process again for the last Welthin. To him, it had taken nearly 5 hours to finish off the dying, but to the knights, it had been maybe 5 minutes. He was mentally exhausted. His outer eyes were finally open again.
We must move on.
Zabeb approached with urgency.
He's right. These things hide in layers.
Safina added as she ringed the clearing toward Zabeb.
Our wizard looks exhausted already.
Moswin chuckled as he brushed past Malik. The left shoulder of Moswin connected with Malik's right, knocking him off balance and disrupting the energies surrounding him. The devices and amulets on Moswin reached out to Malik, grabbing at his magic with an intensity that scared him.